lost when you don't chase it. What you looking at me for? What you looking at me for?
What's up, y'all? Have a seat. It's your favorite hour of the week with the Facts Over Axe crew. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we got a great show for y'all today. This is our first live streaming show.
Yes, sir.
First time we going live. So, forgive us for any errors, but we're doing the best we can, all right? That's all we gonna do. That's all we can give you. So don't say nothing, or else we gonna come find you. But anywho, we got the money man, the man with the plan, Chris Allen in the building.
That is I. I'm taking Josh line for the first trade.
Goddamn.
That is I.
Well, we got the master of the mixing master, the that is I guy, Josh Guyton in the building.
We'll flip it right here.
Oh, man.
Wow. You know what? We appreciate you for letting us partake in this with Ziff Nation. I'm K Gibbs 95, by the way, for all the folks who wonder who that guy always trolling is. That's me.
I be coming with the negativity. I'm big time Chris 100. So
we thrive off negativity.
Especially Clipper slander.
Oh, absolutely. And we could slander the Clippers today. Make no bones about it. We could if we so chose to. However, we got a pretty packed lineup today. The past few weeks we've had slow sports weeks, but this week we're looking at the All-Star game. Yeah. We're looking at different teams and their health and how the All-Star game in and of itself has been altered by health. And lastly, the legacy players in both the NFL and NBA and how their parents' success affects them. That sound like a good show to y'all?
Sound good to me.
All right, well, let's get this thing rolling. When we look at these all-star teams, obviously KD is the top vote getter out of the East, even though he's not playing. So the starters for the East are KD, Joel Embiid, Giannis, Bradley Beal, and Kyrie Irving. However, because of KD's injury, Jason Tatum moves up to starter. The reserves, Jaylen Brown, James Harden, Zach LaVine, Julius Randle, Ben Simmons, Nicholas Vucevic, and Domantas Sabonis. On the West, we got LeBron as a captain. The starters, LeBron, Luka Doncic, Steph Curry, Nikola Jokic, and Kawhi Leonard. And the reserves, I'm surprised Kawhi's participating, by the way. I was really expecting some rest.
I don't know. He's seen
the Clippers alone.
Hey, listen, it's not Clippers slander. It's not Clippers slander.
How many days have he taken for rest, though? He ain't been resting like that either, has he?
That's what I'm saying. I'm surprised.
Well.
He might be motivated.
He have to go through health and safety protocols for almost 2 weeks. That's
true,
a lot of low managing there. Calm down, guys. Calm down.
I'm just saying he might be doing his thing. He might be doing his thing.
Play every game.
Okay, all right. Anthony Davis is also an all-star reserve. However, he is being replaced by Devin Booker as he's out with injury. Paul George, Rudy Gobert, Dame Time, Damian Lillard finally makes it, Donovan Mitchell, Chris Paul, and Zion Williamson makes his first appearance. Now, fellas, is this the first year that they got it completely right? Not a single player that you can say, oh, he's a snub, he needs to be in there. Is this the first time?
I think this is the first year. I don't think it's the first ever. I mean, we can go through the years and look, and possibly we could say we got it right. I know context matters, so we would have to be, watching that season, be into the season, as opposed to, just looking at the names and being like, oh, this guy didn't make it, but we don't know what their season was like. Looking at this, I think this is the first season that they got it 99% right. I think the only case that you can make in the Eastern Conference is Van Vliet maybe deserved the spot. But if you look at the names that they have there, I don't think it's a good idea to replace any of the guards that we have with Van Vliet. So I think they got it 99% right.
To see the Raptors at fourth in the East after all they've been through, it begs the question: are the Raptors and Nick Nurse better than we thought, or is the East just toilet water? But anywho, Chris, do you think they got it all right this year, man?
Yeah, man. Anytime you can't really think about who they skipped out of. Like, my biggest thing was Devin Booker and Sabonis. I was really mad Sabonis didn't make it, because if you actually watch the Pacers game, which we actually watched the games, I know a lot of these other fakers don't watch the games, but when you actually watch the game, Sabonis, I have 9 assists in a quarter some game.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. At 6'11", that's ridiculous. So, yeah, I'm happy he's in there now. I'm mad it's over injury. I honestly think he should have made it over Julius Randle, even though Julius Randle has been hooping. But, I mean, it's the Knicks.
Man, anytime we got the Knicks in a playoff seed halfway through the season, somebody got to make the All-Star team. Somebody got to.
I'm well aware. Brandon Ingram is the only one I might have problem because he's been having just as good of a year as Zion almost. Zion started off slow in the beginning. Brandon Ingram was fast. Now they kind of balancing out, like they taking turns with the scoring low. Brandon Ingram. I thought Chris Paul wasn't going to make it, even though Chris Paul deserves to be here. I thought he wasn't. I thought Brandon Ingram would be in there.
But I think that's something that might come with success, though, because when you got a team that's that young and at the start of the season, you already, you know what I'm saying, like a 11 seed, I don't think you could squeeze 2 All-Stars in there from one team, and Zion is definitely a bigger star.
Yeah, but Brandon Ingram started off the year 28-8. Like,
can I throw something at y'all, because we got to go off script one time. We got to go off script one time. Listen, this podcast, much like a Baptist church service, schedule a change as the spirit moves. Now,
we about to be here all night, though.
The spirit has moved me to a comment that Brandon Ingram recently made. Since we talking about him, he said he's never played with a player as talented as he is. Now. The team that he's currently on includes Zion Williamson, and he played on a team with LeBron James.
Right.
Is this a little bit of is this just healthy confidence and belief in himself? Because we all know he's not the most talented player that he's on every team he's ever been on. But is this healthy confidence, or is this a little bit of that delusion? That's that John Collins wanted to be a number one option delusion. Is this a little bit of that?
I think it's good to have confidence, and I think he knows what goes on behind the scenes. So I think it's another level to Brandon Ingram that we can see. And I definitely think that the only player on his current roster that's as talented as him is Zion. He just got a guy given talent to put the ball in the basket. But one, we know he's not talking about LeBron not being as talented as him. But he also had in his right mind to throw a shot at him. And I think one of these days on the pod, we're gonna have to look at these guys that have been throwing like unnecessary shots at LeBron.
You know what? Chris, mark this time down. Timestamp it. I can't believe this. 7:54 p.m. Eastern Time, Prime Meridian. Because
I'm writing it down.
This is out of control. What Guyton talking about folks unnecessarily taking shots at Brown? Y'all, I can't believe it. But I do agree. That there is a level of disrespect that like a lot of these young guys are having, and it's Kevin Garnett recently told a story about Jordan where he was like, yeah, the guard I was playing with was cooking him early. He was cooking him, and I'm like, yeah, he can't guard you. Keep it up. And Jordan just kind of looked at me and was like, oh really? And the guard that he was checking was like, man, he young. He don't know no better. Like,
right.
Come on, Debo. That's my
don't do that.
Don't do that. Exactly, and that happened. I think that we gonna start seeing a lot more of that with Brown. But Chris, do you think that this is healthy confidence, or is this just seek help, son?
All right. I'm gonna break it down for the audience, bro. Even though I'm a firm believer that it's possible for someone to be more skilled but still not be a better player. For example, Kyrie Irving, I think, is the most skilled point guard in the league.
Right.
Put the ball in the basket and handle. But I think Damian Lillard and Stephen Curry are better point guards than him. Like better all-around players than him.
Facts.
So even with that being said, it ain't even close, Brandon Ingram. It ain't even close. Like, when you came out of college, you were compared to Kevin Durant, who has never been the default number one player in the world. You get what I'm saying? Never been the number one player in the world. And you were compared to him off rip. That should alone tell you, listen, maybe I could humble myself a little more. I'm happy about the confidence. I want BI to go crazy. You see, I wanted him to be an all-star this year. I want BI to go nuts. But you can't say stuff like that when you play on a team with Bron. And Bron's been in the league 18 years, and he's been a problem for all 8. He won a championship year 17.
I'll tell you this much. I really and truly enjoy the confidence. I really do, because I think that the NBA has gotten too friendly.
Facts.
I think the NBA is entirely too friendly. Y'all know me. I'm a football guy. Even when we like each other, we still want to knock each other's head off. Like, in between those lines, in between those trenches, certain things got to happen.
Yeah.
Derrick Henry don't got nothing against Josh Norman. He still stiff-armed that man into the shallow realm. He stiff-armed that man so hard, I had to call Derrick Henry.
Did you see what Josh Norman said?
Kids. That man got kids. He got a wife and kid. Why you doing this?
Hey, did y'all see what Josh Norman said, kids?
No.
What did he say about it?
Bro, so he said, listen, I'm a competitor. If the same situation happened 11 times, I'm going to do it all 11 times. Because if I can strip that ball, it gives my team a chance.
Yeah.
And see, that's the thing that I'm talking about. As far as he knows he stands no chance, but he gonna go do it. That's why I like this out of Brandon Ingram. You know, we all know, in a one-on-one game, that would not be a close game. It wouldn't be. It just would not be. If we're talking about in a team setting, who's the better player? If we talk about both of their respective teams as is, currently constructed, that's not gonna be a fair matchup. But I like to see the energy.
Yeah.
I like to see the little bit of scrappiness right there.
Pause right there, though. I'm surprised Guyton went against one of his old Laker babies.
Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I'm team baby Lake show all day. But at the same time, we got to be realistic about certain things. It's a certain thing as healthy, being competitive from a healthy standpoint, and being delusional. That's stepping into the lines of delusion right there, dog.
So let me ask y'all this: if we gonna guide the program back, we done Mother Bertha done already passed out. We done threw the water on her. She done got up. So we gonna get the program back on schedule. So when we look at the All-Star game, what is your least favorite event? Chris, I'm gonna start with you on this one, man. What's your least favorite event?
You kind of put me on the spot to start it off this nasty trend we about to go into, but
we're finna be player haters.
That awful,
hey.
That awful skills challenge. That awful skill challenge. It's like, why is the skill? I text these two guys, audience, today. Robert Covington, and anybody know who Robert Covington is without Googling him in the audience. That's not an avid basketball watcher. If you know who Robert Covington is, I might give you $5.
Hold on. In the NBA's defense, in the defense of the skill talent, the only reason Robert Covington is going to be involved this year is because he's the last remaining player in the NBA, last prominent player in the NBA who attended an HBCU, graduated from an HBCU, right? As well as the NBA is donating, I believe, a large portion, if not all of the money generated by the Skills Challenge to HBCU. So I think that's the reason he's there. I don't think that anybody in the NBA is like, oh, you know what? A player in the Skills Challenge, give me Robert Covington. When I think of players that can pass, that can dribble, that can shoot, give me Rob. But it worked out that way.
Man,
does that change your mind at all, or is it still? I don't care nothing about that. I don't care nothing about this skill challenge.
Yeah, this one of them moments was that's cute. That's cute. That's cute. But no, man. Robert, what's that skills challenge?
Man, this might be an unpopular opinion, but I'm going with the dunk contest.
Really?
Reason I'm going with the dunk contest is, look, the 3-point shootout is pretty much the same thing every year. We expect what to see out of the 3-point shootout, and it usually lives up to expectations. It's not super, you know what I'm saying? It's not super hype. We get a moment every couple of years where, an underdog come through, or we get something where Steph, make 20 shots in a row, and it get us a little bit hype. But we seeing dudes shooting 3-pointers. I think the reason that the dunk contest is my least favorite event is because we get our mouth watered up for chicken salad every year, even though we keep telling ourselves, like, man, it ain't been good in 5 years, but this year is going to be different. And then we get to the dunk contest and we end up having chicken scratch every year. So I think just the level of disappointment from the dunk contest is what makes it my least favorite.
In all fairness, the dunk contest and all its participants are sickos for this reason. Let me tell you why. You're right. We did get in the mindset of like, oh, this is gonna be trash. And then Zach LaVine and Eric Gordon put on like such a show that it was like if you was chilling, somebody text you or called you, bro,
right.
Are you watching did you see what he just did? And then you get 3 years where it's like, oh, Derrick Jones Jr.
But here's the thing though. We talk about Zach LaVine and Aaron Gordon. Who was the other two participants in that dunk contest? I'll wait.
I want to say it was
Dennis Smith, I think.
Man, I don't know.
Victor Oladipo and Dennis Smith. Yeah.
Oladipo did that.
Is that the Black Panther? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Was that the Black Panther dunk? We ended the pod off that one, dog. Yo.
Hey, listen. All I'm saying is this. The fact of the matter is, when I look at the dunk contest, I feel you, but the dunk contest has the ability to, when it's good, it's really good. Like, it's not like a good dunk contest ain't like, oh, like that's cool. A good dunk contest, like everybody gonna be talking about it. Everybody gonna be saying somebody was robbed, or everybody gonna be talking about what amazing dunk was. I'm surprised that neither one of y'all took my answer, because I kept it quiet because I knew once I say it, y'all gonna realize this is by far the worst of it. The celebrity basketball game. It's so bad every year.
It's not happening this year, is it?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. Number one is co-ed. And here's the thing, right? Y'all know me. Anybody who knows me personally knows I'm a womanist. I truly believe that 98% of tasks can be done equally as well by women and men.
Right.
But when it comes to a game like basketball or even a celebrity all-star game, we have a horrible moment every year, like Quavo blocking Rachel Demita's shot. And it's just like, come on, man. What is this? If I wanted to see Common miss 15-foot jumpers, I would go to a random park in Chicago. This is nonsense. I don't want to see this. The celebrity all-star game just reminds me that celebrities are just people who are good at a thing. They're not good at everything. They're just good at one thing. Whatever their thing is. Now, don't get me wrong. Quavo was out there balling a couple years ago. He was out there on nut like.
No, man. Who was the Secretary of Defense? After Arnie Hammer came through, they should have shut the whole event down, bro.
Yeah. And then that's another thing. You got an elderly man out there on that court.
Cooking.
Like, come on, man.
He cooking, though.
Come on, man. he was cooking, but how many other elderly men got the confidence to do it that's not going to look terrible?
Hey, what I like about the Celebrity All-Star Game is, hear me out, bro. You will see, like, the rappers or, like, the actors or the movie stars, they come out looking crispy. They're like, they'd be worth, like, $10 million, $20 million. But you will see that one billionaire that owns a bunch of stuff, owns software companies. He out there with a Hanes t-shirt and one shoes on. Hey, getting buckets.
With the wood grain dotters on.
That game is an embarrassment, and I'm glad it's not happening this year. I'm sorry, but it's embarrassing, man. It's embarrassing. Nobody wants to see a 45-year-old compete against JoJo Suya. Like, nobody wants to see this.
No, you know what?
Asked for this?
They need to bring it back. I need a one-on-one between the baby and JoJo.
Stop it.
Hey, listen, y'all better stop. They gonna get LeVar Ball in there one day, and I don't want to see LeVar Ball.
All I'm gonna say is JoJo is an inch taller than the baby, so you better use his quickness to his advantage.
Gotta use that first step.
It's an embarrassing situation. If you don't get her with the blow by, she gonna pin it off the glass. But okay. So on a more serious note, when we look at this All-Star game, this is one of the first years that we've seen the captain be injured, as well as I can't remember the last time we had 3 All-Stars have to be replaced in 1 year. So with that being said, what do y'all think is when we talk about health? What do y'all think these different teams in the NBA would be if not for health? Like, what team do you think is most greatly affected by health or lack thereof at this moment?
I think if you looking at the standings, the only glaring difference we can see here that if the Heat were at full strength the entire season, they wouldn't be 16 and 17. And I definitely think by the time the season is over, we still got a good, like 35 games left. I think by the time the season is over, we're going to see the Heat be about a 4 seed. But I think they just had going off that championship season, not having enough rest. I think it was just hard for them to implement the same game plan and build off of that momentum. If we're talking about players that were injured during the season, of course you got teams like Golden State where Clay, we knew he was going to be out before the season started, so that's a different case. But I think players that didn't see these injuries coming and they happened during the season, I think the Heat is the only team that we can really get in this conversation.
Okay. All right, Chris, are there any teams to you that...
Man, I'm going to reach a little bit here. Like, it's going to be one of them reaches. But honestly, the Timberwolves, man. I know y'all like the T-Wolves, but look, think about it. D-Lo, injury. They got the number 1 pick, Anthony Edwards, averaging 14 points a game. They haven't had anybody other than Cat on that team play good basketball, honestly. Then they added D-Lo and Edwards.
Cat had COVID.
Right.
Had COVID.
He was out for 22 days.
Yeah, he was out for a minute.
He didn't play basketball at all.
And COVID, because of what it did to his family, it has like, because he lost his mother.
Right.
He lost his mother. His father was in critical condition as well. It messed with his psyche a lot.
He lost like, 7 family members. Yeah. Seven family members.
Yeah, and first of all, losing 7 family members to any one thing, like that is outlandish.
And to find out you have that thing.
And to find out you have that thing, like a lot of people talk about how weird it was when he was like, "Don't worry, I won't end up in a box like grandma." Y'all got to understand, this man is literally not well. Like, I know I joke a lot and say, like, are you well? Like, no, he's really mentally lost 7 family members to one thing. He has the same thing. Of course, he's going to say something outlandish because this thing has taken an outlandish toll on his life. COVID has taken an outlandish toll on his life. Even if he didn't get it, his life was forever changed. It doesn't matter if you grew up in a 2-parent household or a single mother household, or if your mother was not toxic to you. It is the love that people have for their parents cannot be measured or quantified. Right. It just can't be. And so to lose, I 100% agree. The Timberwolves are a team that didn't come to mind immediately, but now that I think about it, they really have.
But think about it. D-Lo was an all-star. D-Lo was a previous all-star. Cat was a previous all-star. Cat came back from COVID, first game, 25-12.
Yeah.
Off COVID. Not touching the ball, 25-12. Anthony Edwards, y'all know what he's capable of. He's not consistent yet, but we know what he's capable of. 14
I mean, he's a rookie. That's part of the deal.
Right. But I think if he played with D-Lo and Cat the whole season, them being somewhat veterans now in the league, they would have had him going the right direction. And I think the T-Wolves might be in the play-in tournament. Not playing. I would never say T-Wolves play-in tournament.
My only thing is, though, if you look at the teams ahead of them, are you putting a healthy Timberwolves team above Houston?
Yeah.
You putting them above Sacramento?
Yes.
You putting them above OKC?
Yes.
You putting them above New Orleans?
Above the Warriors? No.
I said New Orleans, the Pelicans.
Oh, yes, I'm putting over New Orleans.
I don't know about that.
The Pelicans a little iffy for me. The Pelicans is more doubtful. The team before them, it gets a little iffy for me. The Kings, they can't stop a run.
Man, if the Pelicans played basketball in the fourth quarter the way they play in the first 3 quarters, they'd go 82-0.
Hey, knock it off.
Hey, the Kings do come out hooping. They come out hooping.
I don't understand how a team that's that young fades down the stretch every time.
Every game.
Every single time. Like, if they don't got a 20-point lead going into the fourth, go on and book it in the loss. Book it in, they up by 10? Yeah. You know what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen. So, all right. So, when we look past just this team's year, or this year's teams as far as health, and I definitely think it'd be the Warriors. Yes, even with the Clay situation being what it was and that everybody knew it, Draymond being out for so long.
Yep.
I mean, Draymond had 19 assists the other night. With Draymond on the court, they're way above 500, but he was gone for so much of it. And Lord forbid if they had Clay. I mean, Clay and Draymond and Steph, those 3 are proving to be a very formidable big 3 in their own right.
Right.
But now, if we're talking about health and how it affects teams and how it affects different players, can y'all each give me one player or team that you're like, if they did not get injured, I would have loved to see. It would have been a sight to see.
We talking all time?
All time.
Okay. So you saying player and team? If we went player
or either
or
one,
team,
either one,
okay.
Player or team.
You know what? I was going to go G Hill, but I think the overarching thing of that is he was going to leave Detroit anyway. So I'm gonna leave Grant Hill alone. I definitely don't think people understand how great Grant Hill could have been. Like the skill set that you see out of LeBron, we saw in Grant Hill in the mid '90s, and it wasn't even it wasn't nothing on the basketball court he couldn't do. He was the best all around player that we possibly ever seen until he got hurt. But I'm going to go with I'm gonna take it back to the '80s. I'm gonna go Ralph Sampson in that Rockets team, because the Rockets took a while to build. We know they won in '94 and '95. But if you look at that young Rockets team, his rookie year straight out in the league, Hakeem Olajuwon was by far the best center in the league. Averaging 20 and 10 every season easily, averaging 3 blocks a game easily, averaging 2 steals a game easily, shooting over 50%.
His only weakness was his conditioning, but that was before the NBA. That was when the NBA was just moving away from like actual plumbers and like actual, like if you can have a guy on the end of the bench for the Bucks who like, oh, this is a small market. Yeah, he's a school teacher for the rest of the year. Like when he's not playing, he's a teacher. So the conditioning wasn't that big of a problem because everybody was like smoking Newports at halftime and like, you know, drinking whiskey on the sidelines.
I mean, at the same when you 21, 22, you don't need that conditioning. Akeem got it together later, but the biggest factor in that is Ralph Sampson got hurt. Ralph Sampson got hurt his 3rd year into the NBA. He got injured during his 2nd season. His 1st season, he played 82 games. His rookie year, averaged 21 and 11. On 53% shooting. 2nd year, Hakeem rookie year, he averaged 22 and 10, 2 blocks a game on 50% shooting. And then he got injured and never played a full season after that. So he was a shell of himself. But if you could imagine what the 80s were, and you had 2 guys averaging 20 and 10 easily and 2 blocks, I can't think of any team back then that would have been able to stop them. If you look at those powerhouses, McHale and Parrish not doing nothing with those 2 dudes down low.
No, absolutely.
Kareem not doing nothing with them 2 dudes down low by himself. Who was the 4? They were switching between Rambis and AC Green, right?
Yeah.
Rambis and AC Green was kind of undersized for the 80s. They wasn't doing nothing with them 2 boys.
Hey, it would have got ugly for Rambis. I'm sorry, bro. I don't care how hard you work, how much of a hustle player you are. It would have got nasty for you, bro. It would have got nasty.
Yeah, so I think. Go ahead. No, I'm done. I'm done with my point.
Chris, who would be your player on your team now? Had injuries not prevailed, it would have been just it's up and it's over for the rest of the league.
Now, for me, this is if they would have. He's not. Don't get me wrong. He's not a bad point guard by far. He's a solid glue guy. If they would have got rid of Andre Miller, but Brandon Roy and them Trailblazers.
Ooh, I'm sick. You took my ass. I'm sick.
Brandon Roy and them Trailblazers because. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Aldridge had just got there when Brandon Roy was coming to the scene. Yeah. And them knees didn't go out on Brandon Roy, boy. Yeah. That man used to fly. Like I'm talking, y'all saw the Anthony Edwards dunk? That was a regular occurrence for Brandon Roy in his career. Like, he was jumping over dudes.
And had a jump shot.
Back to the basket game. He had the trade ball game. He had the playmaking game. Brandon Roy used to do it all, like, and
here's the thing that most people don't realize: even with all of the injuries, even with everything that Brandon Roy went through, on his career, he averaged 19 a game. He averaged 19, 5 and 5, or 5 and 4 a game.
And he couldn't even walk some days. Like they said, they had to push him in a wheelchair some days.
That to me. And so I already told y'all he stole my answer, but I'm gonna expand on it even more here. I don't think it was just Brandon Roy. That was the most snake-bitten team I have ever seen in my life. When you look at this roster from top to bottom, you had LaMarcus Aldridge at the 4. Marcus Camby was their center.
They don't even remember Marcus Camby in Denver. They don't remember Marcus Camby back then.
But wait a minute. Beyond Marcus Camby, you had 15, 10, and 3 in college, Greg Oden. And Greg Oden was another one of those guys. He did not have the conditioning to play big minutes. Those numbers were not indicative of how dominant he was in college. Greg, one of those few players, the numbers don't tell nowhere near the story on both ends of what he was for that Ohio State team. He literally, when he was on the court, teams would literally just like pack in the paint. We'll scramble to whatever shooters.
Right.
But if Greg is on the court, whenever he touch it, let's get him. Then you got Nick Batum, Gerald Wallace, and Andre Miller, and a rookie Wesley Matthews. This team was loaded.
Yeah.
If they were healthy. If they, and here's the thing. If this team was healthy, even in the era where like that was where Cole was like very close to his prime and like they were getting him some help, even in that time, I think that they would have gave the Lakers a very good run.
I mean, even if you look at it, I know they met at least once in the playoffs, and I think it was a very close, like 5-6 games.
And that's what I'm saying. That team, had they had full health, Nick Batum, and people know Hornets Nick Batum. If you look at Nick Batum for what he was in Portland, he was a 5x5. Nice. He was a 5x5 machine waiting to happen.
It's a reason. It's a reason Charlotte paid him. It's a reason Charlotte paid him.
Exactly. He could go out there and get you 5 blocks, 5 steals, 5 assists like it was nothing. So that team, had they stayed healthy and stayed together, it would have just been like that. To watch them grow, to watch all of them grow together. Even though Greg Oden wanted to be a dentist, he didn't really want to be a hooper. But all the rest of those guys, even with Marcus Camby at an older age, if he was healthy, I mean, the pieces they had, they complemented each other perfectly. Luke Babbitt out there shooting threes left and right. Wes Matthews on the same tip. Nick Batum had a little bit of everything. Not much. He wasn't great on offense. Right. He had a little bit of everything. Brandon Roy.
I mean, Nick Batum is what the typical 3-and-D player right now is, but he was just playing, 10 years ago.
He's a more expensive Trevor Ariza. I know you say less expensive players, but he was a more expensive Trevor Ariza back then.
Exactly.
Now, when we go ahead.
And then you had Gerald Wallace as well, who was another guy who could cut and dunk and do whatever he needed to do. That team had all the pieces. They had playmaking, they had perimeter defense, they had shooting, they had it all. There was nothing that team did not have except health, except good knees.
Now, I mean, if we talking about franchises, period, are the Trailblazers the most snake-bitten franchise ever?
You know where I want to go.
I'm just saying.
Well, who's your most snake-bitten franchise ever, Chris?
The Clippers. What?
But the Clippers, not snake-bitten. They just stink. It's a difference.
Bro, they stink.
It's a difference.
The Clippers had one time ever where they were snake-bitten, and that was Lob City when Chris Paul got hurt.
But I mean, somebody did say in the chat that Lob City would be the team that they would name. But do y'all really think that if they were completely healthy, that Lob City would have won a championship?
In 14, when the Warriors were still babies and the Spurs were dominant, I think so, because I think in 15 the Spurs lost, right? The Clippers beat the Spurs.
Yeah, that's when Chris Paul hit that buzzer beater with the hamstring.
Right. So if you take that into account, if Chris Paul was healthy and Blake Griffin was healthy against that 14 Spurs team, I think they meet up with Miami. I think Miami beats them because they got more pieces, but I think that gives them the experience.
I don't know.
Man.
Based on what that Clippers team was good at, they would have given Miami everything they can.
They would have.
But do y'all think from a mental standpoint that the Clippers, do you think they would have been able to get it together to win a championship? I think the biggest problem with the Clippers is, especially if you listen to Doc Rivers that was on a pod recently, the biggest problem with that Clippers team wasn't the talent or the injuries. It was a constant internal fight between Chris Paul and Blake Griffin on who team it was. The locker room was split down the middle and they never got along.
I understand that, and I'm not saying that they would have beat the Heat, because I think that's a little bit of a stretch. But when I say they would have gave them everything that they can handle, that Heat team was best at what? The drive and dish. That was their thing. You could not stop it because you had to stop LeBron penetration, you had to stop D-Wade penetration or D-Wade in the post because he's one of the best post guards that we've ever seen.
Right.
That's a very underrated part of D-Wade's
third all time.
Yeah.
Oh, he's the third all time overall, but I'm talking about just in the post.
In the post, third all time.
I don't know about that.
Shooting guards.
I don't know about that.
His post wasn't better than Mike Kobe's, bro.
I think. Oh, you know what? Never mind.
That's why I'm like, Gigas. What? You forgot Mike?
Listen. I'm gonna say this, and y'all gonna say it's blasphemy, but I'm gonna say it. His post hop shot was like so unstoppable. I think him and Kobe are like 2A, 2B. I'm sorry.
Footwork was too much, bro. Footwork was too much. Hey, we watch that.
Post hop was tough though.
It was nice.
Nobody had that. That come off and then hopping with it. That was tough.
He was one of the first to really take that move to the next level to where players were like, all right, I got to get that in my bag. I need that. So if I look at that team, their thing was either the drive and dish or we're going to get close to the rim. You're going to collapse because you got to stop waiting in the post, and then we're going to dish and have somebody open, right? Imagine having a prime DeAndre Jordan at the rim, and Blake Griffin at that time played a little bit of defense too. And both of them in the paint, you don't have to collapse and figure it out around it. It's like, you know what? Figure it out. Y'all two, do what y'all do.
And Miami's 5 was Bosh at that time, right?
Exactly. I don't think that Bosh would have had a very good series against those two down there. Yeah. I just don't think it would.
So they did have Shane Battier, I believe, that 14 year, didn't they?
Yeah, that's who was they for.
Battier was the stretch four.
Battier ain't checking Blake, bro. 2014 Blake, no. Battier cooked.
No, that's hibachi right there. They cook the food up in front of you. Go ahead, throw a little sauce on there and make the flames go right there. But there are a few teams that if I look at them, I'm like, if they have full health, they'll do something. The Lob City Clippers was one of them, but I'm sorry, I still can't get away from those. I still can't get away from those Trailblazers. Now, if I'm talking most snake bitten, if you're talking about snake bitten, Josh, who's your most snake bitten? And mind you, snake bitten don't mean you're a trash organization like the Clippers.
Right.
Snake bitten means like you literally just things happen and they just
Trailblazers easily. Trailblazers easily. It gotta be. It gotta be the Trailblazers because they've always had, a good fan base, good amenities. They always took care of their players, always took care of their fans. Most of the time had good coaches in place. Most of the time had good rosters in place. You can't really give me a period of time where the Blazers were down bad for an extended period of time. They had a solid team that could have won championship after championship until Bird and Magic came in the league. And then Bill Walton got hurt and decided he wanted to be a hippie. So that's a whole 4-year window where you just threw teams out there. I think the Knicks won one, the Celtics won one. I think the Bucks might have won one. The Warriors won one, I think. And it's just, you know what I'm saying? Those are just teams that just happen to win where that Blazers team could have easily beat them in the late 70s.
Hey, to make it sicker about the Trailblazers, bro, you read the rosters. Camby, Aldridge, Batum, Brandon Roy, and Andre Miller, they starting 5. They drafted Greg Oden instead of Kevin Durant.
Right.
Can you believe if they would have drafted Kevin Durant?
What happened at 84? Akeem went 1. Blazers was 2 and picked Bowie.
They drafted Bowie, yes.
But Bowie was a dog in college. Bowie was a dog in college.
And then Mike went 3rd.
Mike went 3rd.
And at that time in the NBA, it was always said, if it's 2 equally good players, pick the big one. And they did what seemed right. Because that four corners offense that Carolina was running, it greatly hindered how good people thought Mike was because they didn't see Mike averaging 40 a night in college. Right. Dean Smith was literally like, "Hey, we gonna hold the ball for as much of the game as we can. Don't do nothing. Just hold." And
Mike had to share the game, share the ball with Worthy most of the time he was there. Right. So if you look at it, they somehow recovered from that, put together a good team in the 90s, and ran into Mike. That same team that lost to Mike made it to the second round and the conference finals the year after that and got cooked by Hakeem. So those was like roadblocks that unless you had transcendent talent, you couldn't overcome, and they couldn't make another run because after they lost after they lost the first time, Drexler left. It went to Houston.
So you want to talk about snake bitten? I got some snake bitten for you.
I got more for you with the Blazers.
Hey, well, go ahead. Finish giving us
Recovered from that. 4 years later, put together a championship roster with Pippen, Sheed, Stoudemire, Bonzi Wells. Ran into the Lakers. Ran into Kobe and Shaq. Got cooked again. They was only bad for what, 4 years? Bounced back with B. Roy.
That was Shaq revenge tour, though.
Right.
When he was mad. He got out of Orlando. He went on revenge tour.
Bounced back 4 years later. Aldridge, Olden, all of that, and we seen what happened again. So it's a vicious cycle with Portland.
They even been in contention every year now.
Yeah.
Can I offer y'all up a team that I know they're not going to win the championship now just because of who they are, and that the Phoenix Suns. The Phoenix Suns. And here's why I say the Phoenix Suns. The Phoenix Suns have never done just an immense amount of things that like with the Pistons have done things where you're like that's the move. I can point to right there where you run your franchise.
Right.
Darko Milicic at 2, right there. Luke Kennard,
hey man,
right
I'm just saying.
When you look at, but wait a minute, the Suns are very similar to the Trailblazers because when you look at their trajectory, remember now, this is an expansion team. This ain't a team that's been around forever and a day. Somehow, immediately after expansion, they figured out, you know what? We got a little squad together. We got a little bit of running going on. They get Barkley out in the 80s, in the 90s, and then what happens? They ran into Mike.
Yep.
And then you go forward, from the 90s, and when Barkley leaves and goes to the Rockets. They were bad for a couple years, and then they say, you know what? We like the Canadian kid from the Mavericks. We think that he can do more than what they're allowing him to do. They went ahead and got Nash. They got Stoudemire. They got Sean Marion.
Mike D'Antoni.
Joe Johnson.
Joe Johnson, ISO Joe. They
had a squad. That was Mike D'Antoni best squad.
And then they run into Kobe and them. And then you even look at now. They've got a team assembled
hold on.
that on paper.
Before they had to deal with Kobe, they had the Spurs down 3-2, and Bruce Bowen drop kicked Steve Nash in the nose, and they suspended Stoudemire and Diaw, right?
Yeah. The only team I can think of that's even close is the Kings, but the Kings, part of it is their fault. So I can't really get it. But the Suns, do y'all remember when the Suns were turning back the clock on every veteran that came to them? They were just taking in all these veterans, and everybody's like, "What are they doing?" And then you see the veteran ball, and you're like, "Oh,
did Grant Hill just give me 15?"
Bro, you looked up what just happened here? They got Shaq when everybody's like, oh, he's nothing now, and made him an all-star again.
Yeah.
And he wasn't one of those guys that made the all-star team just because of his name that year. No, he was balling and made an all-star game, and they still couldn't get over the hump. It was still just, D'Antoni is D'Antoni, and you can't get over the hump with that. And even now, like I said, Chris Paul, Booker, Ayton. Ayton is a big that I think going forward, he could be what we look at the modern big man as. And what are we seeing? They're good. They're really good. They're not going to get it done in the play. We all know that. So, that's one team. They consistently do the right things. They make the right moves. They just can't get over the hump.
That's true.
Chris, who's yours, man? Who's your snake bitten franchise?
Man, I'm thinking now. Now I'm thinking deep, and I want to say the Knicks because of that Patrick Ewing layup. I want to say the Knicks. But
I'm gonna tell you this though, Dolan is such a terrible owner. It's
right. That's his fault. That's his fault.
You painted the picture where they do it to themselves. And I'm like, I can't say the Knicks now.
Because even if they do it to themselves, it still counts. I would say the Cavs, but the Cavs, the Cavs are the Cavs. They ruin everything they touch. Literally everything they touch goes to crap, and it's a reason for that.
I mean, like the Wizards, same thing. They front office. They just.
I mean, if you want to go with a new franchise, you can run with OKC.
Hey.
But see, they bounce back, and then they do like drastic bounce backs though. Like they had come back, like nah, they in rebuild mode, but they still a decent team. And they got 40 picks. Like what?
But you know what though, and I'll give you this one though. Guyton is absolutely right, because even if you take it back from the Thunder to the Sonic days, it still was just like time after time after time, and the fact that, and I'm gonna say that this is still snake bitten, because even though it's the head coach's decision, the franchise did not deserve this. Saying for some reason, I don't want to put Gary Payton on Jordan. What? And we're trying to keep this PG, so I'm not gonna say what I want to say. But what in the redacted are you smoking on to not say, I got a generational, this ain't just the best defensive player, one of the best defensive players in this era. He's one of the best defensive guards ever.
Might be one.
Might be one, ever. And you say to yourself, oh, I want to keep you for offense. Objectively speaking, when Gary Payton walked into George Karl's office, or what's that man's name?
It was George Karl.
When he walked into George Karl's office and said, I'm checking Mike, I don't care what you say. Objectively speaking, Jordan's numbers dropped off. It was like a world of difference immediately.
No matter what Jordan say, it made a difference.
This show is called Facts Over Acts. The laughing at Gary Payton, it's an act, because the facts show that when Gary Payton was on him, he was not as effective. That's just the facts. Some dude that was trying to argue with me on Twitter said, oh, so he had 3 bad shooting nights. What's the big deal?
It's the finals.
The greatest player of all time to everybody.
It's only 7 games.
Exactly. The greatest player of all time, who everybody says, oh, he's the GOAT because he never lost in the finals. All of a sudden, like, he didn't disappear, but falls off in the finals, and you're going to tell me, oh, that player didn't have nothing to do with it. I said, you on that Franklin Saint product, ain't you? I know what that is. You cooked it up. They got that little rock for you, didn't they? I know what you did. You paid that little $10. I know you. But anyway, the Thunder got a case for it. The Thunder definitely got a case for it.
Even if you look at that, if you want to exert Peyton's, if you want to exert his energy on defense, if you look at the way that team is constructed athletically, it wasn't too many players that could have guarded Shawn Kemp. You had Rodman, of course. But at the same time, if Rodman got arrested at any point, if you got arrested at any point, you're not getting who's the other big? Whittington?
Yeah.
Bill Whittington not checking Shawn Kemp, bro.
Hey, listen, Bill Whittington against Shawn Kemp would have got ugly. That's another one of them. Yeah. We're going to see some highlights out of this one, boys. We're going to see Shawn Kemp do the 2-finger on the ground. Where you at, bro? Get up, bro.
No, that's the most disrespectful dunk of all time. I got to fight you after the game, bro.
Yeah, no. At least old boy, when Shaq pushed him through the ball at him, was like, hey, you got to come see me.
Yeah,
no, that's Scotty dunk. That Scotty dunk is where I draw the line. Like, if somebody dunk on me like that when Scotty dunked on the Knicks, man,
that's no way. Well,
at least it was a little tussle back and forth. Shawn Kemp pointed at this man, and he was just like, well.
Yeah.
Well,
hey, bro, the teammate said, bro, what happened? He said, sometimes you the ball, sometimes you the windshield, man. I mean, today I was the windshield. Today I was the bug, man. So, all right. But before we get out of here, we just got to get one more thing in, all right? We got, guys, how much time we at, man?
We are at 48 minutes.
Okay, perfect. We got to get one more thing in here, man. So we often talk about, leaving legacies for your kids and all that, and how important that is, just as humans, not even as like sports journalists or sports personalities or whatever the case may be. But for sports, it feels like it takes on a little bit of opposite effect, where like your success then hinders your child, because your child will always be walking in your shadow.
Right.
So with that being said, is a professional athlete's success across sports detrimental to their child? Yay or nay?
I
Josh,
think,
what you thinking, man?
I think you got to take it on a case-by-case basis. because it's not detrimental if we put in the right amount of time and attrition and everything, because they're, at the end of the day, they're getting the resources to be possibly as good of an athlete as their parent, right? They're getting advantages from training, from diet, from just access and opportunities to be better than the field when it comes to their profession. So it's not doing them a disservice to be in this situation. But at the same time, depending on the greatness of your parent, or depending on the amount of effort that they put into your future, it may be doing you a disservice, because people look at your father and say, "Oh, he's the GOAT," and then we end up with Marcus Jordan. Was it Marcus and Jeffrey, right?
You have to bring up Jordan kids, man.
Come on,
Hey,
man.
I'm just saying.
Them kids stunk. The better of the two averaged 10 points in high school, man. Come on, dog. Come on, man. That's embarrassing. Chris, what you think, man? What you think? Is it a help or hurt?
I think it's a little bit of a hurt, because, for example, if I'm gearing up to play Sierra Canyon right now, Bronny James is one of their players on Sierra Canyon, LeBron James' son. If I'm gearing up to play them, you best believe I'm getting my sleep the day before. I'm getting my good night's sleep. I'm waking up early. I'm doing a proper pregame ritual. I'm getting my mind clear, and I'm gonna go at him, because I know all the cameras is on him, and I know if I go at him, they gonna remember, man, we came to see Bronny James, but this kid right here, he came at Bronny James. He outplayed Bronny James by every aspect. So it kind of paints a target on their back. And I mean, no disrespect, Bronny James. I love how LeBron is taking Bronny James under his wing, and, you know, showing him how to be professional.
That's his son, man. He gotta take his kid. Yeah. You doing your job as a dad.
He ain't got to. We see Marcus and Jeffrey. No. Hey man. No, but I think Bronny gonna be all right. I don't think we should.
Jeffrey gonna call for a cease and desist on our show, man.
I don't think we should set LeBron expectations on Bronny. I do think that's something that we shouldn't do with kids.
I think, and that's where I think it's only a little bit of a hurt, because I think they should be their own person. They should be able to stand alone as their own person.
Right.
Like, if Bronny ends up going to the league and he was a 15-6 player, you know what I'm saying? That's a good career. That's solid. He made his money. He fed his family. You know what well, his family fed, but you know, if it's a star's kid, they should still be able to have a Hall of Fame career, even though they're not as good as their parents. You know what I mean? So
I'm gonna tell you, I don't see how it hurts. I see this as nothing but benefit, regardless of how you look at it. You look at, especially in in football, for example. Football, I don't know how this happens. All of the kids of the stars will get a shot. If you are in close proximity to a star, you're gonna get a shot. And don't take this the wrong way, like I'm saying that these guys all got here from nepotism. You look at the Matthews family. You had the first generation of Matthews, a Hall of Fame center, Hall of Fame guard, or perennial Pro Bowl guard, and then you had Clay. And then you had his brother. Like, you had a lot of Matthews come in. The Mannings, same way. Manning after Manning after Manning. Metcalf, same way. Greatest return man of all time. Then you get another return man who's like, okay, he's serious too. And then you got DK that's built like he's a Greek god or something. Like, you really are in a situation where you're put in a positive, because your parents know what the expectations are for an NFL player. They know what the expectations are for an NBA player. They know what these scouts are looking for. They're in the circles already. Like, they can call up their old teammate who's now the GM and say, hey, man, my son is a point guard. What are y'all looking for in modern point guards? What is it that y'all are like, hey, this don't matter? What is it that you're like, he has to have this in his bag? You know what I mean? So and then even if you look at basketball, Steph Curry, right? Steph Curry did not just get that good from, like, God ordaining him, like, you're going to be a great shooter.
Right.
Like,
he got videos. He was shooting with his dad.
I'm just saying that came from Exactly. That came from, in part, his dad showing him, these are the drills. This is what you need to get strong. This is how you get shots up. This ain't a random kid coming from, like, having Jesus Shuttleworth basically beating the crap, Jesus Shuttleworth pops, beating the crap out of him every time he drive to the basket. Hey, they're going to beat you up in the league, so you got to be. His dad told him, like, listen, this is your key. This is what you got to do all day, every day. Get your wrist strong, all that good stuff. So, same thing with Klay Thompson. Same thing with so many other guys who, like, at the end of the day, their parents know the expectations. Their parents have been there. And then, most importantly, I mean, genetically. Like, what? If you tell me, oh, yeah, Ken, you could have your dad's genes, your dad and your mom's genes, or you could have LeBron and Savannah's genes and start life over again.
Right.
Even if you told me I'd be in the exact same position financially, I'd still be from the middle of the West Side, staying at my grandma's crib in Plymouth Square all the time, and you said, you'll get that, but you'll have LeBron and Savannah jeans. I need it. Give me here. Give me here. I need all that. I need all that. So, I mean, to me, I understand the whole, like, Zaire Wade being pressured to be his dad. Like, oh, you're not as good as your dad was, so you're trash and all that. I get that side of it. That's not fun. But at the same time, I mean, you're Dwayne Wade's son, bro. You're going to have access to the best of everything. Yeah. You're going to have access to, you never have to worry about, like, is my nutrition right? Like, these ramen noodles is, like, they not it. For,
you
can
hit a Pat Riley and get some shots in right now.
Exactly.
I mean, look at Zaire. He was in pro AM games. Like, you know what I mean? Early, playing against pros.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, at the end of the day, most of the guys in the league have a not most, but a good amount have a family member who played professionally. Like, it's so many. Yeah. Kobe Pops played professionally. Kyrie dad played professionally. It's a lot of speculation. Never mind, we're not even gonna go there. But a lot of players who like have relationships with their father still, a lot of them played in the league before. That's across leagues. Because, like, at the end of the day, the genes are super important. So, to me, hey, if you're going to give me an all-star dad, give me an all-star dad, man. Just don't give me an all-star dad that ain't going to give me, like, no physically good stuff. Like, don't give me Andre Miller. I'm sorry. Like, what am I going to do with that, man? Like, I got to work hard and I got to know to stay low to the ground.
Hey, you got the best chest passes in all the middle school, G.
I don't want that, man. I don't want that. I don't want that. You know what I mean? John Stockton may have been slightly underrated as an athlete. His son played well at Gonzaga for a while, or was it St. Mary's? It was one of those schools in the West Coast Conference. His son played well for a while.
He played a little bit with the Kings, too, didn't he?
That's what I'm saying. That, like, it's great and it's good, but, like, give me, like, Shaq kids. Like, give me 6'11" and put some strength on me. But anywho, we know y'all done had enough of us talking about these successful dads, all-star games, health, all that good stuff. But come on back next week and the week after that and the week after that. We will be streaming every episode from here going forward live. We'll try to get a page established for the pod. We'll try to get a Twitch page established for the pod. But until next time, peace and love, y'all.
Peace.
You had enough. I know you had enough.